I'm calling to order the December 19th, 2024 action meeting of the Pennsbury School Board. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Burdnick, will you please do a roll call?
Ms. Ahrens,
Present.
Dr. Delwich,
Here.
Mr. Kanan,
Here.
Mrs. Lamming,
Here.
Mrs. Polsky,
Here.
Ms. Petrecco,
Present.
Dr. Steer,
Here.
Mr. Taylor,
Here.
Mr. Waldorf,
Present.
Mr. Ali,
Present.
Ms. Kanubadi. All board members present.
Welcome. As our students start each day with a mindful minute, I'd like to take a moment and begin this meeting with a mindful minute. Please take a second, find a comfortable position with your feet both firmly connected to the floor, whether you're seated or standing. Notice the connection of your feet to the floor. And then bring that awareness to your ankles and let them relax. The lower legs, the knees, the upper legs, and the hips, the belly and the ribs, the shoulders and the collarbones. Relax your jaw, soften the cheeks and the forehead. Relax the scalp. Thank you for participating. There are many simple techniques that you can use to help find calm in challenging situations. Sometimes that's the breath, sometimes it's just making that physical connection to your body. I encourage you to explore and find ones that work best for you. At the start of our meeting, I'd like to level set everyone's expectation for our board meetings. Our action meetings are broken into 3 sections. The first being the welcome, recognitions, and reports, followed by public comment. This is your time in which you, the community members, have 5 minutes apiece to address the board directly for up to 90 minutes total. After public comment is concluded, the business portion of the meeting follows. This is the board's time to discuss in the open the issues affecting the district and to take official action on agenda items. In the event that disruptions that prevent the board from conducting business, I will address the issue and ask for order to be maintained. If an individual or group of individuals continues to disrupt the working of the meeting, after multiple reminders of the need for quiet, you will be asked to leave, in an effort to allow the work of the board to continue for the benefit of the whole community. The board welcomes input from members of the public, including through public comment, but it is imperative that the district be able to move through the agenda and conduct business. If anyone in attendance has additional comments that they would like to share following public comment, they are welcome to email the board and/or the administration. Our email addresses are on the district website. You may also attend future board meetings or committee meetings to share your thoughts and ask questions. As stated, however, disruptions to the meeting are not permitted. All that being said, please remember this is a working meeting. In order to have a productive meeting, it is important that all those present be able to hear the speaker at the microphone, whether that's a member of the public or a member of the board. If the need for a personal conversation arises, I respectfully ask that you step outside so that those in attendance can hear the speaker at the microphone. Thank you for your consideration. Tonight, the board met in executive session before this meeting to discuss matters involving agency business, which if conducted in public would violate privilege and disclose confidential information because it relates to an investigatory matter, litigation regarding a matter involving personal injury-based claims, a security matter involving a student comment, and the proposed personnel actions relating to the commissioned officers listed on tonight's agenda. Dr. Smith, you have something you'd like to share?
Yes, I would like to just follow up and reiterate the statement that the district made yesterday. The district is aware of an arrest of a Ben Salem resident who was charged with a number of offenses related to alleged improper conduct related to a minor. In reviewing the video, the individual claimed to be a coach and assistant athletic director for the Pennsbury High School. This is not true. It is the district's understanding that this person has not assisted with any athletic events or practices since at least 2009, and that this person had no relationship with the district for at least 15 years, including and during the tenure of this board and administration. Overall, I think everyone hopefully recognizes that we take the safety of Pennsbury students and staff very seriously. Criminal background clearances are obtained for employees and volunteers as required by law. The situation involving this individual is an ongoing criminal matter and is being handled by the Bucks County District Attorney's Office, and we do not have any further details at this time, but recognize that any additional information that might become available, we will share with the community.
Next, we'll have the Lift Character Awards. Mr. Sanderson, Mr. and Mrs. Cacciatore, will you please come forward to present the December awards?
Can we have the awardees around the table, please?
They should be in order.
Thank you, Dr. Steer. Tonight's meeting, we are recognizing the character asset of fairness and sportsmanship. The student receiving the LIFT Award for Fairness and Sportsmanship are inclusive, treat others without favoritism or discrimination, and play by the rules. At the elementary level, the student takes turns and shares. At the secondary level, the student demonstrates open-mindedness and listens to others. The student does not take advantage of others. While they may value competition, the student never lets a desire to win overcome courtesy, respect, and fair play. We had 10 nominations for the trait of fairness and sportsmanship. Each nomination highlighted a student who exemplifies this trait on a daily basis, which made it very difficult to choose just 4. I'd like to thank the principals, the staff members who took the time to nominate a student this month. I'd also like to thank the judges who look at the nominations and choose our students for the awards, along with Mr. and Mrs. Cacciatore and the church who gives the awards. I'll pass this on to the Cacciatores at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Sanderson. One of our winners, Kyron Karavik, was unable to attend this evening and will be recognized at next month's meeting. Major Essay is a 4th grader student at Walt Disney Elementary School and was nominated by Scott Kennedy. He shared that win or lose, Major makes it a point to go to the other team and say, good game or nice job. Major is willing to help divide up the class up into fair teams, even if that means not being on the same team as his friends. No matter the activity and no matter how great Major is at the sport, he always makes it a point to pass the ball to others and involves everyone on his team. Major embodies the definition of sportsmanship each and every time he participates in an activity. He puts the involvement of others and the overall team experience as the priority over his individual needs. Congratulations, Major.
Flynn Miller is a fifth grade student at Penn Valley Elementary School and was nominated by Amanda McDowell, Erica Criselt, and Tim Behe. They shared that Flynn demonstrates inclusivity inside and outside of the classroom. He is welcoming to all students and makes sure everyone feels included. When playing review games in math class, Flynn is never a sore loser or a sore winner. He is humble in his successes and helpful in explaining things to his peers. In gym class, Flynn always tries his best no matter what. He's a great helper and will volunteer to assist in setting up cones or clean up at the end of class. Flynn is the first one to congratulate a teammate or be there for support. Congratulations, Flynn. Charlotte Jurens is an 8th grader at Charles B. Middle School and was nominated by Colleen Vates, Debbie Diamond, and Kevin Perkins. They share that Charlotte is an all-star and is very patient and understanding. She worked with a special needs student on his podcasting project to ensure that he was seen, heard, and treated fairly by all. In geometry, Charlotte works well with her classmates and is open-minded to their input. She will value all opinions, including those that are different from her own. Charlotte cheers on her classmates and shows respect when trying to accomplish a task. For example, in podcasting, she encouraged all of her group members to work as a team and divide the work evenly. Congratulations, Charlotte. And let's have one more round of applause to congratulate all of our Pennsbury Lift Character Award winners. Good job.
Congratulations. Now we would like to recognize the good work of Wink for Pink.
Hello, everyone. My name is Riley Kupchak, president of the student body, as well as co-president of Wink for Pink, a nonprofit organization that raises money for breast cancer awareness. With over 300 members enrolled, Wink for Pink is one of Pennsbury's largest clubs. Throughout the school year, we hold various fundraiser events, such as our homecoming game, Pink Out sporting events, Paint for Pink, and much more. What we do in Wink for Pink is so much more than just raising money. Every month, we hold meetings where all of the club members are educated on breast cancer, as well as make various crafts to give to survivors and patients in our area. All of the money we raise goes to the Healing Consciousness Foundation, an organization that raises money for breast cancer awareness, and Bucks County Breast Friends, a local support group for breast cancer survivors. Over the past 12 years, Wink for Pink has raised $100,000 for HCF, and on November 22nd, I was lucky enough to attend the Healing Consciousness Foundation's Humor for Healing event, where I received the Making a Difference Award from their foundation on the club's behalf. On top of this amazing award, the Bucks County Herald recently wrote an article on myself and my co-president, Kylie Hinshaw, on the work we have done within the organization. I would like to take a moment to thank our club's advisor, Mrs. Griffith, who has worked just as hard as we have this past school year. Thanks to Mrs. Griffith, Wink for Pink will be hosting a Pink Out game in partnership with the Philadelphia Phillies in Citizens Bank Park on April 30th. If 500 tickets are sold, Wink for Pink will be able to donate $8,000 to charity, more than we have raised in total in some past years. I would also like to thank Dr. Smith, Mr. Meadows, and the Pennsbury School Board for inviting me to speak about Wink for Pink tonight, as the Making a Difference Award is a monumental accomplishment for our organization and something I will always hold near and dear to my heart. Thank you.
Riley, before you go, Riley, say the date again. April 30th?
April 30th.
April 30th, and tickets will be open to everyone.
Yes. We've already sold close to 100, and if we sell 500, we also get to throw the first pitch. So this would be a very big thing for our organization. So.
Excellent. So, Jen, we can put that on the website, and so there'll be a link for anybody who's interested to be on there. But before you go, Riley, I just want folks in the board, Riley's a senior who'll be leaving us. As she mentioned, she's the co-chair of Wink for Pink, student body president, the news anchor for the Pennsbury Channel, the Public Relations Chair for the Pennsbury Choir Council, the Senior Public Relations Liaison to the school district social media page, the National Honor Society Senior Honor Society member, the Sports Night Public Relations Chair. She served on our cell phone panel and also serves on the Principal and Superintendent Student Advisory Council that we hold at the high school monthly. So Riley, you've done a lot. Thank you for all of your work to make Pennsbury High School a better place, and we wish you well in your next steps.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Each year at this time, we recognize the Pennsbury High School students that have been identified as National Merit semifinalists and those who are commended.
Mr. Meadows, we're ready for you.
Actually, Ms. Neal, can I have the names? I have the certificates.
They've already been handed out.
Can I have the names now?
So excuse me, I'm doing double duty tonight. I was over at the Pennsbury and Neshaminy basketball game and actually didn't realize that I was being holiday spirit. I'm actually wearing Neshaminy colors. So I'm going to do a quick change after this, go back to the basketball game. So, all right, thank you. The Pennsbury School District proudly recognizes the achievement of students who awarded National Merit Scholarship commended students and congratulates them on this remarkable milestone. This prestigious honor reflects your hard work, perseverance, and commitment to academic success. When we're looking at this nationally, these are students who really scored on our PSAT in the very, very top of the national percentages, and it really is an outstanding accomplishment, and we just want to take a second to recognize the students that achieved this honor. So, and I know we don't have everyone here, right? Okay, so when I call your name, if you're here, please come up. First is Amagan Alvi. I don't think he's here. Derek Bednars. We can clap. That's Nema Dorswamy. Alexandra Harkowitz. Ashwika Janga. Michael Leinott. Daniel Shen. Victoria Smith. Savannah Schramberg. Nere Timmies. And Mark Wheeler. We're also going to recognize our semifinalists, and these are students who have same high academic achievement. They're National Merit Scholarship semifinalists. And I'll call you up, please, when you come up. That is Parker Bowman. Gregory Kolonsky. Noam Gold. Lily Goldman. Vinay Ruparella. And Kevin Yee. And once again, all of these students, I want to congratulate them just for these outstanding academic achievements and just really being an excellent representative of Pennsbury High School. So once again, round of applause.
And Mr. Meadows, before they go, I just want to put some numbers to your words. Last year, about 1.5 million students across the student took the PSATs. About 50,000 students of that got the index scores to be recognized for National Merit Scholarship Program. So tonight we recognize these folks. The commended scholars represent about 2 to 3% of all test takers across the country. And the semifinalists are in the top 1% of all the students across the country. So that's an amazing accomplishment for all the students involved, and thank you very much for your hard work. And congratulations, parents.
Congratulations. It's wonderful to celebrate our students and their accomplishments. And now we're actually going to move on to our reports, and we're going to start with Elanor Roosevelt Elementary students who are going to come up and share what's special about Elanor Roosevelt.
Good evening, members of the school board. We are excited to be here tonight and tell you all about the fun and important things that happen at our school, Elanor Roosevelt Elementary. My name is Kylie Finn, and I am in 5th grade in Mr. Miller's class. I am here with my 4th and 5th grade classmates to share our experiences. Are you ready to hear about our awesome school?
Hi, I'm Abdullah Ali, and I'm in 5th grade, and I'm also in Mr. Miller's class. At ER, we start every day with the ER cheer, which we will share with you now. We are
ER!
We are
Respectful!
We are
Responsible!
We are
Safe!
We are
ER!
We also have so many fun events throughout the year. We kick off the school year with our back-to-school picnic, where we get to have fun with new and old friends, classmates, teachers, and families.
Hi, I'm Michael Crane, and I'm in 5th grade in Mr. Keene's class. In October, we have a spooky Halloween parade and party. We all get dressed up to show off our cool costumes to our friends and families. One of our favorite events is the Scholastic Book Fair, which comes with an ice cream social, books, and delicious ice cream. What could be better?
Hi, I'm Jackson Fischetti, and I'm in Mrs. Rodriguez's 5th grade class. We don't just exercise our brains at ER, we also stay active. We participate in the Pennsbury Physical Fitness Challenge. It's a great way to get moving and have fun with our friends. Another sporty event we love is the Turkey Bowl, which happens around Thanksgiving.
Hi, I'm Ellie Worth, and I'm in 4th grade in Miss Senlock's class. At ER, we have lots of chances to be leaders. Two special groups that help make our school great are Student Council and Character Council. The Student Council does cool things like raising money for breast cancer awareness and leading our Turkey Bowl halftime show. The Character Council reads to younger students, paints positive messages in the courtyard, and helps new students feel welcome. Sometimes we even work together on big projects like our Disney Week fundraiser for School Impact by Hurricane Milton.
Hi, I'm Easton Samuels, and I'm in 4th grade in Mrs. Gardner's class. We also care about the environment at ER. Our student green team is learning to take care of our planet by maintaining our school's courtyards and creating fun ways to teach each other about recycling. We are even making a recycling and landfill monster mascot to help everyone know where to put their trash and recyclables.
Hi, I am Landon Green, and I am in 5th grade in Miss Rodriguez's class. ER students are very creative too. We make all kinds of art projects like poppy flowers that 3rd grade created for Veterans Day. Another project that all students took a part in creating was this collaborative weaving using old fabric from t-shirts. We also have an online newspaper and creative magazine called The Falcon Flyer, where we can share our writing and artwork.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Ma, and I'm in Mrs. Sunlock's 4th grade class. At ER, we learn how to be responsible and help others. Our 5th grade students serve as safeties, helping younger kids and keeping our school safe. I'm looking forward to being a school safety next year. We also participate in Kids Walking for Kids to learn, raise money, and build empathy for health-related causes that students face in our school. It feels good to make a difference and help other kids who need it.
One of the best things about ER is our school spirit. We have a special team of teachers called the Pride Team that brings joy to our school. We even had a Secret Spirit Week that kept us guessing. It was so much fun trying to figure out why our teachers were dressing alike each day. Our favorite day was when the teachers drank from anything but a cup. Our favorites were the teachers who drank from a toolbox, a white container, and a cooking pot.
As you can see, there's always something exciting happening at Elanor Roosevelt Elementary. We're not just learning in classrooms, we're having fun, being creative, and making a difference in our school and community. We hope you are as proud of ER as we are. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We are ER!
Awesome job. So next we'll have our monthly reports. Mr. Early, do you have the reports from the high school?
Hey everyone, I hope that you're all doing well and enjoying this cold winter on this very wonderful night. Tonight, Nivea unfortunately won't be able to join us as she is currently traveling, so I'll be flying solo tonight. With the dropping of temperatures, our sophomores embraced the theme of this year's formal, A Winter Wonderland. Decorated with hundreds of whimsical snowflakes and different wintry scenes, the experience was a great time for our sophomore class. On Thanksgiving, we experienced an amazing marching band performance from the Long Orange Line. If you missed it, be sure to pop out for the choral and orchestral concert in weeks to come. With lots of preparation, our drama department also put up on Pennsbury's Almost Maine. This was a great success, and our Pennsbury musical are looking forward for their next big hit, with rehearsal starting soon. After completing a week of auditions, they have chosen their new leads and ensembles for the Addams Family casting. In school events, Wing for Pink celebrated $100,000 raised for the organization dedicated to improving the quality of life for those living with breast cancer. The senior team won Powder Puff last month, which we'll get into again later. Now we can look forward to the Polar Plunge, which was indeed taken this last week, with the intent of raising money for those in need, as well as giving students another reason to get sick, in this case in the cold waters. We also enter a new season of sports, including winter track, basketball, wrestling, and swimming. With winter track, our winter track team competed and placed first in the number of events, including shot put, and congratulations to our MOC qualified thrower, Kira Moses. In basketball, in the first game of the season, our boys basketball team defeated the Northeast High School Vikings in a tough and close game, with the final score being 49-48. We await many games between our swim, basketball, wrestling, and bowling and track team, so make sure to stay up to date and support our student athletes. Pennsbury High School held its annual Powder Puff football game on Falcon Field this past Monday night. Congratulations to the senior girls on their victory over the junior girls. The flag football game has become beloved, time-honored in tradition in the Pennsbury High School. Now on to this month's report, of the title being The Way Students Obtain Information. This report gathered data on how students obtain information and potential improvements that could be made in that category. When asked if they felt that current communication methods used by the school are efficient, 43% gave a 3 out of 5. When asked to justify, most common answers were that students found some communications unclear and or confusing. They were then asked about their means of obtaining information the best. 28% said through email, 21% said through friends, 24% said through morning announcements, and 19% said through social media. At the end, students were given the options of typing out their thoughts on what they think the high school and district could do to improve their communication on information. The most popular way that students wanted the information to be more easily accessible, and also to make traffic on the social media pages. My personal opinion as a high school student is that the best way we obtain information is through word of mouth, through friends and families. Therefore, an increase in social media presence provokes this move. That concludes my report for tonight. I'm open to any questions if anyone may have any.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Are there any questions for Mr. Ali? You're welcome to stay if there are any items that are interesting to you, but we do realize that you have school early tomorrow morning, so you're welcome to take off at any time.
Unfortunately, just like the season, some of my teachers are cruel as well, giving us tests on the last day.
Okay, go get some sleep. Dr. Smith?
All right, thank you. Good luck with everything, Zachy. So just a quick review as we end the year, our areas of focus. Obviously, I think anybody who's attended a meeting, we review our 5 areas of focus that we have identified for this school year. They're all under the headings that we've agreed upon for previous years. That's instruction, data, climate and culture, facilities, and sustainability. Today, I'm going to focus specifically on instruction, and Dr. Ritchie is going to give us an update on a program that she is bringing to the board for next summer.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. So I'm really pleased to provide, I guess, a proposal for a 4-day kindergarten camp. It's a kindergarten readiness camp for students who are entering kindergarten this summer. So I think the most important parts of this are just to think about, what the benefits could be for our students and really for our entire school community. So we're talking about engaging and starting a new adventure in school, making new friends, providing parents and guardians with an opportunity for some family engagement. We will staff our kindergarten readiness camp with Pennsbury certified teachers, also with some paraprofessional and instructional aides as needed. We do want to make sure that we provide support for the students who need it. Our hope is that families and students will get familiar with Pennsbury, understand a little bit about the school district as they embark on their new journey, and they'll learn some really important school skills. So the focus of this readiness camp is going to be really in 3 areas that are academically skill-based. So fine motor skills, things like cutting, hand-eye coordination, things like that. Early literacy skills, letter recognition, sound recognition, things like that. And mathematical concepts like counting and number recognition, sorting. So there's a focus on letters and sounds, counting and numbers, and those early writing skills. This really does include even like holding a pencil. I've been working really closely with a kindergarten committee, and they have provided a lot of input into what it is that the students could really benefit from in this sort of readiness experience. Just bearing in mind that students come to us with really varying experiences with school. Some have been to preschool for really like years, while others have never really been in any kind of a school setting. So we hope to bring students together for 4 days and give them some of those skills so that we can also get to know our students and get to know some of their needs. On the flip side, we're also looking at the social and emotional skills. So the social interaction, students will interact with one another. They'll learn how to appropriately interact with other students and with their teacher, administrators, things like that. They'll learn to ask for assistance. We're going to emphasize some emotional skills. How do I separate from my parent for the first time maybe? How do I ask for help? How do I regulate myself? How do I understand how to manage myself in a classroom? And then those self-confidence skills. So we really hope that students will build self-confidence and be able to have some respectful interactions. The other areas that we're looking at are probably exactly what you would expect. A safe environment for students, teaching students how to create a safe environment for them and for the students around them, along with their teacher. Health and hygiene, so some of the basics regarding promoting overall health and well-being, and school procedures, like how do I walk in a hallway, how do I walk into a classroom and sit in a circle and things like that. So on the next slide, you'll see kind of like an overview of what the 3 hours each day would entail. So we're looking at mimicking what we do in our kindergarten class, which is starting with a morning meeting, so morning meeting time, and then engaging in the learning center, so that's where some of those academic skills will be focused. Then there'll be some playtime, a snack break, and then some story time. So this could be an idea of what a typical day may look like for our kindergarten readiness. The hope is to have, of course, to have experienced instructors and to utilize a curriculum that would be utilized for all of the weeks that we offer our camp. So in the next slide, you'll see that there's going to be some options for students and for their parents, but we'll have some options available starting July 7th all the way through August. So when parents register their children, they'll get a pamphlet and they'll be able to select which week may work for them. So they'll only be engaging in 1 week of this. So the schools are open Monday through Thursday. So it would be a Monday through Thursday experience. We'll have a parent orientation on July 1st. We hope to make that a virtual orientation so that parents can understand what the expectations would be for any of the students. And there will be a cost, so this will be a self-funded kindergarten readiness camp. So there'll be a cost, it'll be $225, but we will, of course, provide financial support for anyone who qualifies, for any families who qualify.
Thank you, Dr. Ricci.
Thank you.
I have one question. Can you just explain how you came to deciding on the hours of 8 to 11? Because I know that was well thought out.
Sure. So one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure that the camp went until 11 is because we wanted to give an opportunity for a half-day camp if students wanted or parents wanted their children to engage in an after-school camp. So it gives that buffer so they can have lunch and then they can get to their next camp if they chose to do that.
Thanks. I'm very excited about this.
Great, thanks.
Because if we can alleviate fear and anxiety for our youngest learners coming into class for the first time, that would be a great benefit. So thank you.
And this will be at every elementary school or select elementary school?
So it would be at select elementary schools. It depends on the facilities needs at our schools. I don't expect that all students will participate, and I don't expect that all of our kindergarten teachers will participate. So that is why there's 5 different weeks to choose from, and the thought is that we would group them together throughout the district. So it wouldn't all be at one school. The hope is that it would be at 1, 2, or 3 schools, depending on how many students we get as signing up.
Dr. Ritchie, what about transportation?
Transportation would be provided by the parent or guardian.
It'd be interesting to get them exposed to the school bus somehow too, right?
Yes, and so that is part of the planning process. We have discussed the possibility of having students take a bus, of course with parent permission and with some guardrails in place. But there is a program that we're also exploring. It's called Safety Town, where students can go to, basically it's like I guess like one could say like a fake street, and there's stop signs and they can, there's these little ride-on carts that students can go on to experience what it would be like to be. So there's opportunities like that we would need to travel to. So if we chose to do that, it would be kind of like a field trip. It's something that we're exploring right now. I know Ms. Petrecco is looking into some options. There is also a safety town that one of our neighboring school districts uses in Mercer County. So we're looking at some of those options.
Great, thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Moving on with my report, just some quick reminders. I sent this out, but just I know some of the students, we were talking about this today with them. Just a reminder, and it's not snow weather yet, but all weather-related closures will transition immediately to remote learning days, and they will take place from 8:30 to 12:30. If we are moving to remote learning, we will issue a remote learning advisory so folks can compare. On the elementary level, students will be sent home with their Chromebooks. If something happens, it's forecast over the weekend. As a precaution, we will send students home on Friday with their Chromebooks and chargers to make sure that they're all set. Also, as a backup, elementary families received a packet of work at their conferences in the event that there was a power or internet outage. But this is one of the things the calendar committee identified to try to end the end of the school year as soon as possible with that. So when we get closer, you'll get more information with that, but just putting that on everybody's radars. Another FYI is Start times are changing next year. After the new year, you'll be receive tons of information, but we are starting at the high school about 8:10. We'll finalize the exact time in January. Middle school, 7:40. Elementary stays the same, about 9:05. Probably going to come closer to 9 o'clock, which is the current time. So more information, but I just want to, as I do every month, remind everybody that the start times are changing. The board, I know this was of interest to the board for several years, and it's finally coming to fruition. So it's stealing from Spotify. We're going to give you a quick year-end wrap-up, just some fun facts about Pennsbury. We are now with students of 9,922 students. We have 1,667 staff members. We have 16 buildings that we used in the district. The average age of the buildings are 63.8 years. Our newest school was built in 1997, and our oldest active school is Makefield, built in 1934. The original Fallsington, which is now the board office, was built in 1917. Other fun facts, we have 118 buses, 22 vans, and 38 maintenance vehicles. One thing I would like to, as I transition, I'm going to talk a little bit about our educators in a second, but I just want to acknowledge our teaching, support, and administrative staff. We had a meeting with leadership earlier today just to talk about how we can best support each other and work together moving forward. It's no secret that education is a difficult field. One of the most troubling statistics that I've come across is that nationwide, only 15% of teachers are recommending the pathway or career of education to friends and family. So that's something, as a collective, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can, not only to have a positive experience in Pennsbury, but as educators as a whole, that we're doing everything we can to support our teachers, support our administrators to do the best they can do. The other part about it is we have less people entering the field of education. With that, colleges are at an all-time low in terms of educators. So you'll hear a little bit about things that we're doing to try to improve that, in addition to making, making sure that our teachers are supported here, but also there's pathways to growth for all of our staff members. So continue with our year-end wrap-up. Some positive news, you'll hear more about this in January, where we get into our annual data update, but student behaviors at the high school and the middle school are down significantly. Standardized test scores continue to outperform the state. Some professional staff longevity fun facts. The average years of service for our professional staff is 13 years. We have 251 staff members with over 20 years in the Pennsbury School District. That's a great thing. Administrator longevity, the average years of service in Pennsbury is 10 years, with 10 who have over 20 years in Pennsbury. Support staff longevity, the years of service, average years of service are 7 years. We have 85 with over 20 years, and one individual who has 52 years of service in the Pennsbury School District. So we really appreciate everybody's efforts and commitment to Pennsbury. Teacher retention is up. Our resignations are at a 4-year low. That includes resignations and retirements, so that's a wonderful thing. And trying to really work and include more folks in the field of education is our Grow Your Own program. The board has been generous in their support of supporting paraprofessionals to become teachers. We have 4 individuals in this program right now. The board has approved another 3 for next year, so we're really excited about that. So they have a pathway to move from being a paraprofessional to being a teacher, and also supporting professional staff to become administrators. We have a pathway for that also, and also supporting school aides to become paraprofessionals. So regardless of your level, we're looking at opportunities for staff to move forward in the district and keep them here in Pennsbury, and we're pretty excited about that. And our data is showing that our efforts are working. And I'd just like to shout out, we have some of our PEA leadership in the audience, and just I thank them for their work and their continued support of our students and their collaboration. It's wonderful working with them. So as a follow-up, this is kind of where we began the year also, is we have our eyes set on not only being the best district in Pennsylvania, but across the nation. We've made some changes. It's been a busy fall. The teachers can attest, we've asked a lot of them over the fall, but really with a focus on constantly improving Pennsbury. So I appreciate the board for their support. I appreciate the teachers and paraprofessionals, administrators, all for their efforts to constantly improve Pennsbury. And as we heard earlier, you know, we have a wealth of students who are going on to do great things. It's important to recognize that we're also have students who are doing great things in the field that don't require college education, going to tech school, going straight into careers, and or working in carpentry or one of the trades. So Pennsbury is a very unique school district in the sense that it's a comprehensive high school, and there's pathways for every student, and we're very proud of that, and we're committed to making that happen and continue as we design a new high school. So that concludes my report. I wish everybody a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Mr. Taylor, do you have a Bucks County Technical High School Joint Board report?
I do. Dr. Delwish and I attended the Bucks County Technical High School Board on December 16th. At the meeting, we approved the finalized sending rubric for students. This rubric sets the standards that incoming students must meet to attend the school. This rubric was created with input from staff and sending district superintendents. It's pretty well-rounded. The lottery was held for new students, with Pennsbury having 122 students apply. These student applicants will be assessed, and we will find out shortly how many were accepted and how many we have on a wait list. For 2025, Pennsbury's available seats will be 92 to 95. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 27th, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Waldorf, do you have a Bucks County Intermediate Unit report?
Dr. Steer, the Bucks County Intermediate Unit does not meet in December, so we're meeting again in January. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Petracca, oh, no. Mrs. Lamming, do you have an Education Committee report?
I do, and it's lengthy because it covers 2 meetings that we've had since our last meeting. The following items are on the agenda this evening for the consideration and approval in Section 5. From our November 26th meeting, we discussed item A, the French trip planned for November in 2025. It's a student plan trip for the fall. B, winter sports team championship events. The events and the invitationals and championships would be approved if the students qualify. Item C is girls flag football. Our athletics department is proposing a girls flag football team to begin this spring. This will become a PIAA sport sponsored largely by the Eagles organization in the fall of 2025. Costs include transportation, staff, and equipment. Item D is the Pete and C Conference. 8 district employees are requesting attendance at this annual conference. It's the PA Educational Expo and Conference. Item E is ACDA, National Conference Honor Choir. A PHS student qualified for this prestigious event and will be accompanied by a staff member. Item F is the Boys Lacrosse Spring Training. There will be a March training camp for the team. Item G is the Future of Education Technology Conference. 1 administrator will attend this conference in Florida. Item H is the 2025 Okie National Conference. Students and staff are requesting participation at this yearly conference, and this year the performance and conference take place in Chicago. Item I is the Pennsylvania State Thespian Conference. Students and staff are requesting participation at Westchester University. Item J is the PMEA and BCMEA Honors Band and Orchestra Festivals. The request is for students who qualify to attend the various festivals across the region. Item K is the Pennsbury Speech and Debate team, participation of 7 students and 1 chaperone at 2 tournaments in Pittsburgh. Item L is the 2026 Junior Prom. A deposit of $1,000 will secure the venue. Item M is for an exchange student from Italy to attend Pennsbury High School in the spring. Item N is the 2025 NCA High School Cheerleading Nationals, a request for the PHS cheerleaders to attend the Nationals in Dallas, Texas in March. Item O was the previously approved trip to Spain. There have been some date revisions for the world language proposal. The trip was originally scheduled for April of this year, of 2025, but will now take place on the new dates of March 27th through April 4th, 2026. Item P is for routine overnight leaves and education leaves. And then from our most recent meeting on December 17th, item Q is the Summer Kindergarten Readiness Camp. That's what Dr. Ricci just proposed. It's a 4-day readiness camp for incoming kindergarten students, which is self-funded. This is a request for startup costs only. Item R is for a PDE conference, a request for 5 members of the special education team to attend the annual special education conference. And item S is the Pennsbury speech and debate team, a request for 2 students to participate in a tournament in Atlanta, Georgia. Our next Board Education Committee meeting will be January 23rd at 4:45 in the Superintendent's Conference Room. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Polsky, do you have a Facilities Committee report?
Yes, ma'am. The Facilities Committee met on Thursday, December 5th in the Superintendent's Conference Room. CHA Dewey Engineering provided an update presentation which included the status of the Charles Bay Middle School update, the stadium concession stand buildings, the Pennsbury High Stadium second synthetic turf field project, and an update on the administration server room upgrade. CHA also provided an updated project timeline for the second synthetic turf field. CHA project timeline still indicates a start for the turf field March 2025 with a completion date of August 2025. Mr. Strohecker of KCBA Architects briefed the Facilities Committee that a design development phase has begun for the new high school building. The architect has had meetings with the pool boosters and scheduled MEP meetings with the administration to discuss various mechanical and electrical systems for the new building. Another meeting was held to go over the exterior building materials. There was a discussion regarding a partnership with the YMS Yardley Makefield Soccer Association. They would like to partner with the district to use our second synthetic turf field during the times we are not using them. They would like a long-term commitment that would contribute to the overall cost of the project. We also discussed the recent inspections of the district's underground gasoline and diesel fuel tanks and the possibility of required upgrades. Additional testing will be performed and an update provided in the near future. Action item 6A was reviewed and is being sent to the board for their consideration and approval. This is a change order deduct for Makefield mold remediation with Plymouth Environmental dated 11/19/2024 in the amount of $30,500 for unused allowance material. Our next meeting will be January 2nd in this Central Administration Superintendent's Conference Room. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Waldorf, do you have a Finance and Partnership Committee report?
I do. Thank you, Dr. Steer. The Board Finance and Partnership Committee met on December 12, 2024. The committee voted Josh Waldorf to serve as committee chair. The school district received a letter about building a request to build a cell tower next to Charles Bay Middle School from Verizon. We have in the past rejected it for safety concerns. The school district and the Yardley Makefield soccer organization are in the discussion of the partnership. We heard the same thing at our meeting. The committee also learned that there's going to be additional carrying costs next year from the Electricity Consortium that will amount to $400,000 additional charges to the school district. The committee also reviewed a letter that the district received a 5% discount on its SDIC insurance. The following are for your consideration and approval tonight. 7A, approval of financial reports. 7B, approval of bills pending. 7C is accepting with appreciation a donation from B and J Group of food items for the Pennsbury food pantries. 7D is a donation also accepting with appreciation from Chip Taylor and his family of $3,950. $1,950 will go to Elanor Roosevelt for a laminated vinyl world wall map. $500 will go to Fallsington for their learning garden. $500 will go to Manor to be used for their work with pollinators. $500 will go to Oxford Valley to be used for their work with planters, and $500 will be allocated to the Pennsbury High School Speech and Debate Student Activity Fund. 7E is approval of Trans Tax Advisors LLC to pursue tax credits for the school district's propane purchases. 17% commission will be is the fee on any tax credits received. 7F is approval of purchase of musical instruments and accessories to 3 different vendors for $55,037.90. Where the instruments and accessories are a timpani, a tenor saxophone, bass clarinet, a tuba, baritone saxophone, a orchestra bell stand, a euphonium stand and storage cart, and an alto sax. 7G is renewal of life, disability, and AD&D insurances with Unum through December 2026. 7H is approval for 3 employees to attend the PASBO annual conference at a cost not to exceed $3,000. 7I is approval of an agreement with Bluebird Brightbill for assistance in preparing grants for bus grants for propane buses, and authorization to submit any and all paperwork necessary to secure the grants. 7H is approval to authorize administration to submit and execute a redevelopment assistance capital program, RACP, grant application with the Commonwealth Financing Authority in the amount of $7,173,000 for redevelopment and construction of combined high school, including community use, arts, and recreational facilities. 7K is approval of a procurement card for the senior prom expenditures. 7L is approval of a round-trip transportation by Pennsbury Transportation for the Pennsbury boys basketball team to and from Newark Airport at a cost not to exceed $850. The team will be attending the Modi Risher Holiday Classic in Charleston, South Carolina next week. Go Falcons. 7M, approval of an agreement with the Stepping Stones Group to provide substitute nurses as needed. 7N is the approval and renewal of a district-wide subscription with Duo Security for multi-factor authentication across all staff devices and integrate with Rapid Identity at a cost not to exceed $23,975. 7O is approval of purchase of CSIU's E-rate, services for 2025-26 school year at a cost not to exceed $6,800. 7P is approval of the renewal of the district's endpoint protection system at an annual cost not to exceed $43,680 for 24 through 26 school years. Also, this is an addition is an agreement between Pennsbury and Bucks County Intermediate Unit as part of a state consortium agreement to administer the licensing of this system. 7Q is the approval of purchase of 15 Promethean interactive TVs, Chromebooks, boxes and carts for William Penn and Penwood at a cost not to exceed $41,712.20. 7R is the approval of purchase of 65 Livono all-in-one desktop computers at a cost not to exceed $46,930. These are to replace outdated desktops that cannot be upgraded to Windows 11. 7S is the approval of an agreement with the Bucks County Community College to provide CPR training for up to 50 Pennsbury School District employees over 4 dates through 2025 school year at a cost not to exceed $6,000. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. That was a marathon. Dr. Delwich, do you have a Policy and Personnel Committee report?
Yes, I do. The Policy and Personnel Committee met December 12th at 4:30 p.m. in the Superintendent's Conference Room. During that time, we did go into executive session to discuss hiring procedures, administrative contracts on the agenda tonight, and job descriptions of support personnel. The items that we bring for, we did have a visit from some of the people in the apprentice program for Bloom Board. That is one of the items on the personnel item C. And Dr. Smith, I think you said there are 4 people. My understanding is there are 5. There's actually 5 apprentices who've completed the first year. And we are seeking approval of those 5 to continue into the second year, as well as 3 people starting their first year in the second cohort. So it's a pretty exciting pilot. In the policy portion of the meeting, we discussed approval of the school calendars for the 2025 through 2030 school years. This is something that was developed by the calendar committee, and we voted for them to come to the board for approval with some identified typos, I think, being addressed on the last 3 days. Rather than being half days for elementary, middle school, it would be a half day K through 12. Right. We also moved forward a proposed Act 80 day for February 14th. This is at the request of PEA, as I understand it, to give ample opportunity for familiarization with Schoolology. So that's, it was already a half-day instruction. This will not lengthen our school year or impede student learning. So that is for your consideration tonight as well. We recommend approving this change. We also bring for a first read Policy 816 regarding district social media. The current social media policy disallows the printing of the last name of our students. I think we were primarily considering younger students when we did this. Some of our older students, when they get into junior high, high school, or I should say middle school, high school, are trying to develop their portfolios and are finding this to be a hindrance. They also get printed in newspapers with their full name, so it's a little strange that we do not do the same with publicly available information. So this policy change will allow students who are being recognized for national honor merits, for school play participation, for athletic participation, to have their full name posted. There is a way for parents to opt out if they prefer that the last name not be included. So that is up for consideration tonight. In the personnel section, there are the action items. We have recommended professional items and classified items that are recommended for approval by administration. There is the service agreement, item C, which is the Bloom Board program, which would continue grow our own commitment to developing special ed teachers who will be committed to staying in the district for at least 3 years and servicing a kind of chronic need that we have. So it's a win-win. We also have item D for your consideration. We request approval of a service contract, which will allow us to conduct for the 4th year a virtual job fair for Bucks County. This is a teacher recruitment fair. It is our opportunity where we meet with the most potential applicants. Last year was larger than ever. We had multiple districts who participate in the same event, and I believe we had 44 applicants interviewed. The cap on the number we interview is set by us. We have more people participating in the fair than we can actually talk to. So we see this as a valuable recruitment tool to try to get Pennsbury's name out there and address the chronic shortage that everyone's facing with teacher interest. Item E is a contract addendum, and we move that the board approves this amendment to the ESS pricing plan to reflect an increase in pay rate for substitute services effective December 20th. Items F, G, and H regard updating the contract with Dr. Ricci, and items I through K are regard updating the contract with Dr. Gibson. Our next meeting will be January 9th at 4:30 p.m. in the same location, during which time the committee will be reorganizing. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Polsky, do you have a wellness report?
Yes, ma'am. The Wellness Committee met on Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. The Pennsbury High School Athletic Director, Mr. Lou Sudholz, shared information about the polar plunge hosted at Falcon Field. If you get a chance, look at the video. You'll really enjoy it. The event raised over $15,000 for the Special Olympics of Pennsylvania, and the funds will come back to the district to support our participation in unified sports. Pennsbury High School participates in unified track and field, unified bocce, and next year we hope to add unified strength and conditioning. Next, Dr. Gibson and Mrs. Peters joined from the Office of Human Resources to present information about new employee wellness and incentive programs. This incentive program should allow all employees to continue to have access to many popular wellness incentives that we lost when we changed insurance providers. There are no action items this month from the Wellness Committee. The next meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2025 at 3:45 in the Superintendent's Conference Room. And thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we will have public comment. As I stated at the start, this is your time to directly address the board, uninterrupted by the board, the administration, or the audience. Up to 90 minutes are provided as an opportunity for community stakeholders and others to comment on agenda and non-agenda items. Speakers should have signed in on the appropriate sign-in sheet. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to address the board. If you are speaking, please state your name and municipality to begin. And if you are commenting on behalf of a company or organization, please state the name of the organization and that you are speaking on their behalf. Speakers may not cede their 5 minutes to other persons. I will call each speaker to the microphone in the order in which they have signed in. During public comment, you may pose questions or make comments, but the board and administration will not answer questions during your 5 minutes of public comment and will not engage in discussion. This allows you, the speaker, to utilize the entire 5 minutes of public comment. It is our expectation that the individuals will not be interrupted by others in the audience during their 5-minute period. We ask that meeting attendees respect each person's time for public comment and not interrupt in any manner. At the end of public comment, the board may respond to comments, direct the administration to do so, or address them at a later meeting, or opt to take them later, address them later in the meeting, or opt to take them up at a future meeting, allowing appropriate time for research. We'll be opening comment at public comment at 8:39. The first speaker tonight is Richard Dixon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard. I'm a resident of Falls Township and a fellow graduate of Pennsbury. I'm here to address some of the comments that were made last meeting pertaining to pride flags. Being an adult that identifies as gay, it can be very hard finding acceptance in places that may not be my own home. Never knowing if you're safe or whether or not an establishment protects and cherishes all business and patrons. So you can only imagine what that feeling could do to teenagers and young adults. Now, I've had the privilege of coming to terms with my identity very early on, but that did not stop the thoughts of fear, judgment, and unwanted attention. But you know what did? Pride flags. Pride flags showed me that in the space that I'm sitting in now, I was heard, seen, and wanted like every other person that walked through that door. A pride flag doesn't just mean gay or just for the LGBTQ, and is certainly not just a club. It is a sign for inclusivity, acceptance, and an invitation to be yourself for everyone. It tells students and faculty that this is a hate-free zone, but most importantly, it allows students to focus on the one thing they're all there to do: receive a solid, thorough education without the thought of being pushed away. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Andrew Dell.
Andrew Dell, Falls Township. First, I want to thank Tom for having a meeting with me the other day. We went over some different areas of my concern. My question, I guess, is when this DEI program goes away, how are you going to dismantle it, and how are you going to deprogram the staff, the faculty, and the kids? Because you've had 4 years to brainwash these kids about a worthless program that anybody with a brain in their head knew wasn't going to work, and it hasn't worked since its inception. Every major company and corporation is doing away with it because they know that nothing is better than merit. You can't just put someone in a place because it makes you feel good. It's starting to get people killed. And I want to know how much time you're going to spend on unbrainwashing these kids from your ideology, because it took 4 years. And, with some of the videos I've seen and some of the propaganda I've seen, a lot of your teachers were gung-ho on this, and it's a little disturbing to me, because this is something that just can't be erased overnight. This is not a program you just cancel and say, hey, it's over. You need to put out some serious information out there to let people know that, hey, skin color is of no difference. Everybody's the same, everybody can succeed, and anybody can fail, but it has nothing to do with skin color, religion, anything. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with the individual, and every individual is different, and they can get through on their own merit or not make it through on their own merit. But this program has been a waste of time, a waste of resources, and it's obviously, how much I've been against this since the get-go, but I don't know what you're going to do to dismantle it, or if you have no plans on dismantling it whatsoever. Brainwashing is a powerful thing. There's a book I read last year called Ordinary Men. I don't know if any of you have read it or even heard of it. It's about the Nazi SS police battalions that were going through Poland, and they would follow the military and clean up and try to eradicate all the Jews from every town, every village, and just basically shoot them in the head, put them in a trench. And these were ordinary, as the book states, ordinary men and women, people like you and I, that got forced to listen to propaganda time and time and time again until it sank in and everybody believed it was the truth and they were doing the right thing. It's a serious issue, and I'm not saying that this program is going to make people go around killing people, but I'm just saying when you brainwash somebody into believing a certain set of rules or criteria or your ideology, it's a dangerous thing, and you need to let people know that, hey, you're all the same. Whether you're black, Asian, doesn't make a difference. They all can succeed and they all can fail, but not on the basis of skin color. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Haiba A and Rosie R. Haiba A and Rosie R. Okay, seeing no one coming forward, eighth man falls.
Eighth man, Falls Township. I live right across the street from you. You don't have a DARE program. I'm really surprised at that. You don't have drugs in the school? Have you ever heard of genital hopscotch? No, I guess not. 84% of property tax go to Pennsbury School District. When the rich rob the poor, it's called business. But when the poor fight back, it's called violence. Board members need to be transparent for safety and security of the children, staff, and the community. Professional degrees and dissertations must be posted. I have been reading them. Very interesting reading. I'd like to comment on those as well. So if you could post your dissertations, please. God is in the clouds. Santa is in the sky. Biblical white dudes are characters in the sky, in children books, stained glass, and more. White children at the age of 7 have internalized the idea, creation of the universe, either in religious terms or humanistic terms, or in naturalistic way, the universe is closer to them rather than a black child. When they internalize that, what do you think black and brown children internalize when they see imagery? As lily white Jesus is as lily white Jesus is memorialized, the dirty little secret has weaseled its way into our children's brains as we have all ingested this poison. On time. Systemically, the poison problem exists in and with policies, practices, and everyday procedures. They reinforce disproportionality and inequality between different racial groups, even if there is no overt bigotry in the room. Case in point, I think we're all familiar with Bill and Daisy Myers. No one? Okay. They were a black family that moved into the Bristol Township, Levittown. However, Bill Levitt built Levittown only for white people. He was a Jewish lieutenant in the army, fought with black people and Jews. He had rules for his 12,000 Levittown dream home. Clause in a contract, mow the lawn and only dry your clothes on drying racks. Also, the tenant agrees not to permit the premises to be used or occupied by any person other than members of the Caucasian race, but the employment and maintenance of other than Caucasian domestic servants shall be permitted. Bill and Daisy Myers did write a book, Sticks and Stones. Of course, we all know the rest of that, breaks bones, names will hurt and kill you. A mother and father words is God on the lips of a child. One without the other speaks with a forked tongue. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, but nothing can unbreak a broken egg. Generalization racism, Mr. Levitt is the ghost of Scrooge from Christmas Past. The new school will reflect your continued hidden racism, this new building will be a flawed jewel representing Bill Levitt, the bastard. Shiny object syndrome. He hated his mother, he hated Jews, he probably hated his own sons for what he did in Levittown, New York, Levittown, Pennsylvania, Bowie, Maryland, and New Jersey, Willingboro. He had strict rules. Oh, wow, I went over. But the school is going to be a ghetto eyesore. I'll finish it up in the next meeting. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, everybody. Next.
Thank you. Next is Jennifer Metzger.
Hi, everybody. Jennifer Metzger, Falls Township resident, across from where we want to build Pennsbury High School, right? So I'm against it for multiple reasons. We've had this conversation multiple times. When members of the community are hurt, everyone hurts. Why is that relevant? We have people in the community, including parents and guardians of Pennsbury School District students, and we have seniors without currently matriculating students who can't afford the real estate taxes and aren't even being included in some of these discussions. Do you realize over 80% of our real estate taxes paid by the 32,000 households of this school district go to this school? And with 60% of that money funding school salaries and pensions, more than 80% of the households not having kids in the school, you have major issues that aren't being dealt with. So we're telling you, please don't build this school. Pay attention to all of the issues that the school district has. There are a lot of them. From multiple employee and civil rights lawsuits annually, more than 13 in the last 10 years, and that was just me glancing through quick, to the sexual predators, at least 3 that I know of in the last 30 years, 2 of them since you guys have been on the board, to wanting to build a new shiny school after having ignored maintenance issues. It's impacting everybody in the community, even if Pennsbury School District is only limiting their correspondence to parents. Again, only 15% of the households. Abdication is a failure to fulfill a responsibility or duty. Many of us are aware of the Levittown issues, not just the racism and things that happened many, many decades ago, but the issues with remodeling, expanding, and rebuilding the Levittowners, because there were mistakes made. Levitt's license was pulled in Maryland in 1978, 20 years after building the homes here. So we know there were mistakes made. We can only imagine the issues that happened with the 1961 high school builds. So we understand that people are saying Pennsbury East is a teardown. But it's exacerbated by the fact that the board's decades-long decision to not address the difficult problems of repairing and remedying the probable debasement of the 1961 build on the Pennsbury East building has only exacerbated the problem, causing it to be that teardown. This is an abdication of your responsibilities. It is difficult to imagine a more flagrant abdication of duty than to listen to you consistently focus on spending our money instead of teaching our kids. So what's the core of my problem with this 50-foot installation? Well, let's ignore that Bristol Township School District, who receives less school taxes of their overall property tax bill, was able to do significant repairs and upgrades to Truman in 2022. And we're talking about like 10% of the money you guys are talking about. And they did 20 times more than what you're talking about doing if you were going to just fix up west. Temporarily putting aside the blight, the water table, the traffic, trash, insects, and animals being planted at my doorstep, or the tax increase, the abdication of your responsibilities, the disparate impact to our seniors' quality of enjoying the suburban neighborhood, let alone them and our disadvantage of basically not being able to afford this, Let's look at where the focus should be focusing on the reason we are all here, growing our kids into functional and financially solvent members of our community. We have major issues in this county, school district. We can ignore it all we want and say it's not racism, but at the end of the day, there is implicit bias. We do have an issue with diversity and equity. Not understanding the difference between equality and equity is a common problem. I'm white. People refer to me as privileged. It's offensive because people don't understand that just because of the color of my skin doesn't mean that I wasn't disadvantaged over time. But what you have to understand is there are a lot of people that are far more disadvantaged in far more ways. And we don't all see it, right? Because none of us actually deal together with the issues. So when you have somebody sitting on the board, Gibson, who can't even look up and look at people when we're talking about the issues that we agree with you on, it makes it very difficult to stand with you. There are multiple issues that I have with whether or not you're going to fix the school or whether or not you're going to replace it. But at the end of the day, we really have to come together and make sense of where the money's going. Because between the lawsuits and the diversity issues and what you're spending money on, you really do need somebody that can streamline your budget better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Jennifer Woodland. Jennifer Woodland. Seeing no one come forward, the next speaker is Smith. Smith. Okay. Seeing nobody come forward, next speaker is Robert Abrams.
Robert Abrams, Lower Makefield Township. Okay. Pennsbury budget, it was announced today that the whole county budget is $500,000. Pennsbury's budget is half the size of the whole county. Isn't that absurd? Dr. Ricci, I have no problem with your contract. It's just a continuation. What I would like to see is professional development go to you because your responsibilities were halved when Dr. Brown was hired. All right. I understand a new complaint is coming from the Office of Civil Rights against Dr. Gibson in January. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know if you know about it, but I know about it. Dr. Gibson was part of our suit against the First Amendment suit with the district that you got crucified for. When's it going to stop? All right. And that was Marshall Villamuso. You were already informed that House Bill H.R. 8786, and which I believe is out of committee, and Senate Bill 4516 will eliminate DEI, equity, diversity, the whole routine. All right? Yet, at least 4 times, equity is mentioned in this new contract for Dr. Gibson, which means you are guaranteed of losing $3.4 or $3.5 million in federal funds. Guaranteed. On page 9 of the Senate bill, equity, inclusion, critical race theory, intersectionality, or training courses are all individual bullet points. They're handled individually. I already went through that. Your approval of Dr. Gibson's contract tonight is willful negligence, and you will be surcharged. Now, I suggest you all contact your attorneys, because if you lose $3.5 million and 7 of you vote for it, that's $500,000 apiece. If only 5 of you vote for it, it's $700,000. If you got $700,000 every year to give back to the school district for the taxpayers, raise your hand and vote for that contract. And if you can't afford it, then you better vote no. because you're paying, the taxpayers aren't. We're done paying. We've had enough. You're getting severely bad legal advice if they're telling you to put this contract up. You better go get a second opinion. You owe it to the taxpayers to get a second opinion to find out what the public liability is. Pay here for Dr. Gibson makes absolutely no sense. You have, first of all, there is no such animal as assistant superintendent of HR. There are 6 directors and 6 lower positions and 7 lower positions in Bucks County. No one is assistant director of HR. It's fake, it's made up, and it's absurd. It's a money pass. Now, you also didn't advertise this position because it's new, nor can you pay back because it never existed. Nor are we going to pay again $2,000 a year for her doctorate that we already paid her for and are still paying her for. It's enough. The Council Rock HR director has a Juris Doctorate at $147,000. This contract here is at $173,000. You're not a lawyer, are you, Dr. Gibson? Well, this person is, and the difference is $26,000 unless you want to add the other $10,000 that you're getting in a private 401k plan that's hidden in the contract. Now, somebody better explain what's going on here, because you also have other human resource directors that have many, many more years' experience and many, many more degrees. Now, somebody better explain why. You're all going to pay for it. I don't really care. Okay, and you are going to lose the $3.5 million because I will report it as soon as this law is passed or President Trump does an order. Also, pay increases of 5% every year? Senior citizens are getting 2.5% at an increase. 5% for the first 2 years, 3% for the second 2 years. Who wrote this thing? Who has responsibility to the taxpayer money? Clearly.
Thank you, Mr. Abrams. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next speaker is Tim Daly.
Tim Daly, Lower Makefield. Congratulations, you guys got a great stage actor turnout tonight. Unfortunately, people at home can't see, but yeah, we got a great group of people who've never been here before from out of the community to intimidate. So, you know, I look up at the signs over here and I see School District of Character. And boy, did that not really feel like that yesterday now, did it? For 42 days, you left our community in the dark about an arrest of a sexual predator with a long association with Pennsbury. Where do you people get off thinking you had a right to withhold this information from the public? You have all once again proved our concerns about the district that you don't believe you have to answer to anyone. Then, when you do respond after social media explodes as a result of the group releasing the video, your response was filled with misrepresentations and disingenuous statements from Dr. Smith's email last night. First, for the record, Keith Page was not a ball boy at Pennsbury sporting events, but instead you should have acknowledged him as a 2003 inductee into the Pennsbury Sports Hall of Fame. Second, Page was not an occasional visitor and participant at sporting events. He was known as a super fan, and he was always there. Lastly, Page had regular interaction with Pennsbury students, and how do I know this? Because you guys acknowledged it in a press release that has been printed in multiple newspapers in our community, where you lauded his interactions and his engagement with children in our school district. All complete, utter lies. But what concerns me most was the conduct of Pennsbury's solicitor in her efforts to keep a lid on this situation. On November 7th at 10:30 p.m., Solicitor Aronson submitted under the penalty of perjury to the Office of Open Records an extension request on an appeal in a case with Robert Abrams. Aronson claimed in this that she had serious illness that kept her out of office and disallowed her from meeting the deadlines. I encouraged Mr. Abrams to file an RTK to get copies of the communications, fully redacted, just the to's, the froms, and the timestamps that I got the legal precedent against Ms. Aronson last year. And what it showed is that she had 54 pages of communications during that week. She was not out sick. And she basically refused to turn that around for 37 days, even though no legal review is required and a paralegal could have banged that out in an hour. So last Thursday, upon Robert receiving the RTK regarding the supposed illness, we found a spurt of emails on November 6th with the athletic director just 40 minutes after the public posting of Mr. Page's arrest. It has become abundantly clear that Pennsbury and its solicitor took these actions, in my opinion, to disallow Mr. Abrams and myself from uncovering the latest black eye of this for the school district. The questions I have for all of you are very simple. Why do you go to these lengths to cover up if Pennsbury is not in any way at fault? And I do believe we're not at fault. So why on earth did you do this? Did she recommend this? Because if she did, you all need to look yourself in the mirror and ask, what kind of legal counsel am I receiving from this incompetent fool to not tell us that a predator was with our kids? Even if it was years ago, the community has a right to know how you're handling it. And it seems to me she gave legal advice to discourage you from doing it. Why should we ever believe any of you anymore when you fail to alert us of these serious situations that you now see people are enraged about? And exactly, I want to know, because you put it in the statement, Dr. Smith, exactly when was Mr. Page banned from the district property? So those folks that are watching at home and will watch this video in delay, you can review all of Ms. Aronson's documents for yourself and judge for yourself. Did she do things in the best interest of our district and the taxpayers, or was she self-serving herself to increase her billings and serve the constituents of progressive radicals on this board? So you can find them by going to psd411.net, and it's the latest blog post, and you can see all the details and determine for yourself. And just so all you know, you pushed me to do this with the BS that you did with the metal detectors because you called me a threat. We have had over 2,000 unique visitors. Right now, and that's in 2 weeks. Right now, you have 30 people watching on video. Who's making more of an impact?
Thank you, Mr. Daly. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. Next speaker is Dan Finn. Dan Finn? Okay. Okay. And Jen Fenn? Okay. All right, seeing nobody come forward for either of those names, the next speaker is Michael Tadlock.
Good evening, Michael Tadlock, Falls Township. I'm alumnus of Pennsbury, class of 71. I also have 2 daughters who are alumni of Pennsbury, and 3 grandchildren who are future alumni of Pennsbury. Okay, so you can see that my family has both a long history and a significant interest in the Pennsbury School District. I'm not accustomed to public speaking, so bear with me. First, I want to thank the members of the school board and the administrators here tonight for all your hard work and the time that you put into the district. Besides these monthly board meetings, you guys attend committee meetings, which we just heard about. And I see many of you at like the numerous meetings for like the new high school. It's a huge commitment being a school board director. I think people don't realize that school board directors is the only unpaid elected position in Pennsylvania. No salary, not even a stipend. Since you're obviously not doing it for the financial compensation, I have to conclude that it's a sense of civic duty and a desire to serve the Pennsbury community. Again, thank you. Which brings me to my second point. Each month, you sit before us during public comment, and frankly, I don't know how you do it. There is a small recurring cast of characters each month that insult, disrespect, and demean members of the board and the administrators, both individually and collectively. You patiently sit there, showing great restraint. They accuse members of nefarious activities and malfeasance in office. They engage in threats, childish name-calling, and yelling. It's appalling that the recent security measures are now necessary. It's hard to take somebody seriously when they act in such an unserious manner. A small but vocal group call out from the audience, interrupting other speakers and board members, but expect people to show respect when they are speaking. Now, this next part, I swear, Dr. Steer, I didn't copy off your paper or anything, but if audience members do not have the discipline or common courtesy to control themselves and are disruptive, the board should not abruptly adjourn the meeting, as has happened recently, but rather you should, after a warning, remove the source of the disruption. When you abruptly adjourn a meeting, you cheat the rest of the community of information and the dialogue that they deserve. I would hope that everyone wants the same thing, the improvement of the Pennsbury community, fostering the best environment for our students to learn and grow so that they can achieve their full potential and be productive members of our community. While we may differ on how to achieve these goals, we must remain civil and courteous to one another. So thank you for all you do, and know that your efforts are appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tedlock. The next speaker is Jim Boyce.
Good evening. Jim Boyce from Pinewood, live in the Pinewood section. My kid's 5. I come here because I want the best for him. He's going to be moving through the district now for the next 13 years, so you're going to see me a lot. I'm geeking out on the Pennsbury Board of Ed. So I wanted to come here tonight and talk about 3 specific things. Supports for the students, such as flags, including pride flags, policies, and personnel. All these things are all about supporting the kids who need it most. Not all our students are able-bodied. Some of our students are from historically marginalized and oppressed groups. These 3 things support our kids while they go to school here. Supports like flags, policies, personnel. One thing we all have in common, everybody behind me, everybody watching at home, all of you, we all went to school in some form. We all probably could have used some extra support somewhere along the way with something. What would it have been like to get that extra support when you needed it? Kids today, I think, have more supports than any other time in history. They've got so much going for them here. Still not enough, but it's better than it ever was. For me specifically, I went to school in the 80s and 90s, not here. From the age of 5 to the age of 24, I had a stutter. There were classes in high school where I did not say a single word ever because I didn't have the confidence to do so. In the 80s and 90s, my teachers tried their best, but there wasn't a lot out there, you know. There wasn't the kind of supports that these students have today in policies, in personnel. Now there's a whole team. They're called the Child Study Team. You've got LDTC case managers, you've got social workers, school psychologists, registered behavior technicians, and more, including speech therapists. I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Gross at Walt Disney. She is phenomenal, works with the kids on articulation, pronunciation, whatever they need. And I saw our Walt Disney principal here, Dr. Ortiz, earlier, also phenomenal. Congratulations on these fine employees. But I say these things, these supports that these kids have now, these policies, the personnel to carry them out, things like flags and other things hanging in the schools to help. Because we need these things. No Board of Education, no community wants on their scorecard students who are going to hurt themselves or who are going to hurt others. These things help with that. Early intervention services help with that, and Pennsylvania is a leader. I'm going to look at the camera here because my fellow parents at home, we need you to come out to these meetings. This board, over the next month, over the next years, is going to have some challenging choices ahead. And you may have noticed they spent a lot of time talking about budgets and money, what to do with our tax dollars. A budget's not about money. A budget is how you choose to spend your money. And coming down from the federal government, I think we're in for a bumpy road ahead. Project 2025 specifically mentions the phase-out of Title I money over 10 years. IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Act, what's going to happen with that come January? What's going to happen with Title I? Title I gives us the money we need for these policies to be implemented, to hire the personnel, to have the supports in our schools. Title I is 2 to 3% of the budget, I believe. Doesn't sound like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. Kids need consistency to reach their full potential. What is going to happen? I'd like to challenge this board to start talking with the community about what might happen when Title I goes away, and also connect with us in new and innovative ways. Talk with your peers on other boards of education to see what they're doing about it, and our state representatives. How can the loss of any funding be offset? All these things working together so our students can continue to have the supports, policies, and personnel they need.
Thank you, Mr. Boyce. Appreciate it.
Thank you. The next speaker is Barbara Simmons.
Good evening. I'm Barbara Simmons. I live in Newtown, and I'm here as co-chair of the Education Committee of the NAACP. I'm here to share with the Board of Pennsbury School District my experience when a district is without a director or coordinator to help infuse curriculum that create acceptance, tolerance, compassion, and empathy. I've worked with close to 300 schools in my 30 years at the helm of the Peace Center. Most often, the schools I assisted found that bullying in all forms was due to intolerance of kids who were Black, brown, Jewish, Muslim, LGBTQ+, or different in some form or fashion. And it wreaked havoc on those individuals, but it also wreaked havoc on all the other students who were witnessing it. When schools invest in some important recommended measures, there was improvement in that school environment. They are such as hiring educators and school staff that are more reflective of the student population. So that means increasing the hiring of people of color, LGBTQ, Muslim, Jewish, etc. Training for all staff on understanding cultural relevancy. When this is implemented, academic achievement increases, and that is because kids feel safe emotionally, socially, physically, and morally, and that puts them on the path to success. Dedicated funding to hire a director to oversee that curriculum development to ensure teaching of tolerance in all grade levels. Again, if we want to increase students' academic success, the diversity, equity, and inclusion, which seems to be a bad word nowadays. Back in my time, it was called cultural diversity awareness, increases students' academic success. Putting in place restorative justice processes to ensure fair discipline. Studies have shown harsher discipline is often carried out on kids of color. As a member of the Education Committee of the Bucks County chapter of the NAACP, I get the parents whose children have received discipline that's harsher than what's been given out to Caucasian students. And making sure we provide after-school clubs that support kids of color, immigrants, LGBTQ, different religions, etc. I did a lot of work in this district many, many years ago for a good long period of time. So I've been through a lot of superintendents. But I've always seen this district doing their best to be the leader in that area of wanting to provide social and emotional safety for kids. My experience is if you learned about a problem, you did something about it. It isn't easy when you have citizens or parents who use their role or see their role as one who must be critical, litigious, or use bullying behavior. You've done a good job and continue to do a good job. And yes, there is more work to do, and until there is equity in our country, there will continue to be more work to do. But the NAACP is here to help, so turn to us if we can help you in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last speaker, public speaker this evening is Steve Nolan.
Steve Nolan, Newtown. I've been here before. If anyone remembers me, I told you I had 30 years in the military, and I'm an Afghanistan veteran. And tonight, there were things that happened here that reminded me of my military career. Starting with the Pledge of Allegiance, saying we're one nation under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Then we went to the students, and that was very rewarding for me. They were getting rewards for integrity and character. The golden rule. A couple of those students were pointing out that in sporting events, they went up to the losing team and had complimentary things to say to them. I don't like the rudeness and the crudeness and the attacks I saw tonight. I'm glad the kids didn't have to witness that. As this one man pointed out, you have infinite patience. Although I think I share with a lot of the people here that I do believe that elected officials are public servants. So I don't work for you, you work for me. On the other hand, if I was a wealthy man and had servants, and if I had a chauffeur and a gardener and an upstairs and a downstairs maid, I would not talk to them the way you are talked to. In the military, we call it insubordination. We believe in good order and discipline. It's a trigger for me to hear that kind of rudeness. Like I said, I'm glad the kids left, and that part of it, they didn't have to see adults acting inappropriately and verbally abusing you and shouting at you and calling you names and saying that you're brainwashing people, and then the ultimate irony, giving you a lecture on Nazi Germany. The military, ironically, being so conservative, has led the way in diversity, in equity. integrated minorities and women. We're the first to give them equal pay. But the naivete that I heard tonight was apparently the gentleman didn't know that our black soldiers came back from the war after saving a lot of lives, and they came back to Jim Crow, or in some cases lynched by the KKK. So this nonsense about skin color is irrelevant. We have a lot of work to do. And I just thank you all for having the patience, but I agree with some of these other comments about, in vaudeville they had a hook, and someone said, you don't need to interrupt your business. If someone is inappropriate or threatening, take them away. And I would agree with that. But keep up the good work. Thank you all for your service. And let's make it a better year.
Thank you. Seeing no other community members signed up on the lists, we'll close public comment at 9:26. That ends the public's verbal participation in this meeting. Please listen quietly to the remainder of the meeting so that all those present and those attending virtually or watching the recording at a later date have the opportunity to hear. Now we'll move on to the business portion of the meeting. Do I have a motion to take agenda item 7E, the Trans Tax Advisor's contract, from the table so that action can be taken on this item this evening?
So moved.
Second. I'll open the floor to discussion of the Trans Tax Advisor's contract. Does anyone have any comments from the board? Okay. This is just to take it off the table. So I'll call the vote.
It was tabled at the last meeting,
Yeah.
Josh. You look confused.
We're putting it back on the agenda. We're taking it off the table and putting it back on the agenda. Sorry. Anyway. So I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? So the motion carries. So 7E is back on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to pull item 7D, donation by Chip Taylor and family, 8A, calendars needing a small change, 9F through 9F, Ricci resignation, 9G, Dr. Ricci appointment, 9H, Dr. Ricci contract, 9I, Dr. Gibson resignation, 9J, Dr. Gibson appointment, and 9K, Dr. Gibson contract from the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Do I have any discussion about pulling these items from the agenda? So I'll call the vote. I'm losing my voice. Can you do the voting for me, Mr. Burdnick?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
So they've simply been moved from the consent agenda. That's all we're voting on.
It's 9-0.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the remaining items in the agenda as a consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? Okay. That opens the floor to discussion of the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything to add? Okay. Mr. Burdnick, can you call the vote?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's 9-0.
Thank you. Moving on, do I have a motion to approve Agenda Item 70, the donation by Chip Taylor and family to the district?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you to everybody in the community who buys from our stand. That's where the money comes from. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Chip.
Seeing the end of discussion, Mr. Burnick, will you call the vote?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Recusing myself since we are donating it.
801.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve Agenda Item 8A with the understanding that all of the calendars will be revised to show that the last 3 half-days of the year are not just through K through 8, but are K through 12?
So moved.
Second.
That opens the floor to discussion of the calendars. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to mention that it's not a change in practice, it's just a change in the writing on the calendar. That's why we missed it, because that's how we've been functioning. So again, it's not a change in practice, it's just making sure the calendar actually reflects our practice.
Thank you for that.
I wanted to recognize the calendar committee for taking into account parents' needs too, in consideration of the days and things like that, so thank you.
Seeing no other discussion from the board, will you call the vote?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0.
Do I have a motion to approve items 9F through 9H? These are the items relating to Dr. Ricci's contract.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Opening the floor to discussion.
I just have a quick comment about that. So I've known both Dr. Ritchie, Dr. Gibson for several years now, and only had good experience working with them and their work. I definitely value your work and contribution to the district. Do not have any concerns with you or your work, but I do have reservations specifically related to the contract structure, which are specifically making some of the salary and benefits retroactive for a few months. And I'm just worried that I do not want to make that a standard for anybody's future contracts.
Any other discussion of Dr. Ricci's contract? Seeing no discussion, further discussion, Mr. Burnick.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
8-1.
Too, Chris.
Okay.
Opposed.
My apologies, 7-2.
Same reason, I'm just concerned about the retroactive money.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve agenda items 9I to 9K relating to Dr. Gibson's contract?
So moved.
Second.
Floor is open for discussion. Any comments from the board?
Same as before.
Same as before.
Okay. Seeing no further comments, Mr. Burnick?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
7-2.
That brings the voting portion of the meeting to a close. Open the floor for board discussion.
I have a statement I would like to
Excuse me, I
read.
have just a point of order. Did we approve 11A through G tonight?
Yeah, through 11G,
We did, okay.
through the consent agenda.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a statement I would like to read. Last month, a few residents requested we immediately alter our transgender policy to reflect anticipated executive orders. The policy they referred to is currently compliant with our current governing laws. As with all our policies, we will continue to review them with an eye to ensuring they are serving to protect our students, our staff, and our community while remaining compliant with the law. Recent court decisions have indicated that demanding removal of symbols of support of the LGBTQ+ community can be a violation of First Amendment rights. As far as recent suggestions goes towards relocating them, I'm as opposed to shoving these symbols into a case as I am to shoving queer kids back into the closet. Statistics have firmly established that students who identify with the LGBTQ+ community are more likely to be bullied and more likely to commit suicide. Our existing symbols signal to our queer students that they are seen, they are safe, and they are accepted. Why anyone would want to signal the opposite in the name of protecting kids is beyond me. Simply put, the discomfort of straight parents does not trump the lives of queer students. Minimizing queer identities and denying their existence is hurtful, wrong, and ultimately dangerous. I, for one, will continue to support the presence of symbols that support the LGBTQ+ community as a beacon to those who are uncertain of their safety. Thank you.
I also would
Thank
like to
you.
read a statement, if that's okay. As a board member, one of my main goals is to make sure that every student has a chance to learn and grow in an environment where they feel safe and respected. Imagine walking into a school where you feel like you don't belong. You're different, whether because of your race, religion, your gender, or your sexual orientation. In those moments, you're searching for something, anything that might tell you that it's okay to be yourself, that you are seen, valued, and accepted. That's exactly what a pride flag in a high school represents, a beacon of inclusion and acceptance for LGBTQ+ students, and a visible symbol of respect for everyone. Pride flags are not just a piece of fabric with rainbow colors. They are symbols of a long history of struggle, resilience, and triumph for the LGBTQ+ community. These flags serve as a reminder that people, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity, deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. In a high school where young people are figuring out who they are and how they fit into the world, having such symbols of inclusivity can be incredibly powerful. For LGBTQ+ students, the pride flag can be a lifeline. High school is often a time when many teens come to understand their identities, and for some, it's a period of self-discovery that might not be easy. In some cases, students may not have support at home, and seeing pride flags at school can let them know they are not alone. It communicates that their school is a safe space, one where diversity is celebrated and all students are welcome. Opponents of pride flags often argue that displaying them in schools promotes a specific political or ideological agenda. However, the reality is that the flag isn't about politics. It's about human dignity. It's about fostering a culture of respect for differences, whether that's sexuality, gender, or any other aspect of a person's identity. Just as we display flags or symbols that represent the values of equality, fairness, and unity, the pride flag reflects the same values, but specifically for LGBTQ+ students. A high school environment that embraces diversity has the potential to prevent bullying, discrimination, and exclusion, all of which are unfortunately too common for LGBTQ+ students. Some might worry that the presence of a pride flag in a school could alienate students who don't identify as LGBTQ+, or make them uncomfortable. However, research shows that learning about different cultures, identity, and experiences fosters empathy, reduces prejudice, and promotes a sense of shared humanity. In fact, exposure to diversity, whether through curriculum, art, or symbols like pride flags, helps students build the emotional intelligence and open-mindedness They need to thrive in a diverse world. Moreover, fostering inclusivity within schools isn't just a benefit for LGBTQ+ students. It also helps all students develop critical social skills, such as understanding and respecting different perspectives. Schools are microcosms of the larger society, and preparing students to navigate that diversity with compassion and openness is essential for their growth as responsible, empathetic citizens. At the end of the day, the Pride flag isn't just about the LGBT+ community. It's about creating a school environment where every student feels seen, valued, and respected. It's about teaching our young people that diversity isn't something to fear. So the next time you encounter a pride flag in school, think of it not as a symbol of division, but as a symbol of unity, a reminder that we all belong and that we are all deserving of a safe, supportive, inclusive environment to grow and learn. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the board that would like to make a comment?
I do. I have a statement.
Donna?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so last month, what I didn't say that we shouldn't have pride flags. What I said is that I would like to see equality for everyone, and that everybody be given equal representation, afforded the opportunity to be seen, heard, valued, and respected. Okay, so at public schools, we have a whole spectrum of people that come to our schools. We have a spectrum of parents, we have different beliefs, we have different religions. It's very diverse, okay? So what I said was give everybody equal time. Now, the people that left were some of the people that I talked to, but I was called a Nazi, a bigot, and disgusting by the same party who just sits here and talks about bullying, right? Well, I'm none of those things, but what I am is I'm a public servant, and I was elected to this position to represent everybody in my constituency, and that means the LGBTQ and the other side of the spectrum, whatever that would be. So when I said that everybody should be given equality, I don't understand why equality is offensive, but I only got 4 negative emails. One was from a board member, one was from a board member's spouse who also thinks that I should be censured for exercising free speech. One has a political affiliation to the group, but her child attends private school, which begs the question, as such as an email been sent to her child's school, or is it only good for public schools? The fourth was a concerned citizen who turned out to be a political activist, and I got 2 negative phone calls plus whatever statements these are going to be. But I was approached by some constituents, and I'm just going to read some of the things that they said. One was a mom. She said, I don't have a specific issue with the flags, but it's become too much of a narrative and it's over the top. Another mom said, it's not about the LGBTQ or the flags, it's about the agenda and the political narrative that goes with it. I don't want this or any other political leaning in my school going forward. Another one was a dad. He said, I have no problem and everything is welcome when appropriate. Why shouldn't we celebrate Pride Month? Another dad said that he was surprised when he came into the schools, I guess for back to school night, that some teachers had them and some teachers didn't. And when he inquired, but was offended when he was told those are safe rooms, and then inquired, shouldn't every room in every school be considered safe? This sends a dangerous message. Another mom said, I have a gay brother and I understand what these stand for, but it's to a point where I feel that it's being shoved on my children. Another mom said, by not clearing out the hallways and the school in June and starting fresh in the fall, which is what I said, in those middle schools, that they have been lining that hallway for about 4 years. By not clearing the school in June and starting fresh in the fall, we're doing a disservice to the kids coming in who have to be stuck with what kids before them wanted and don't allow them to express themselves and mark their school. Another mom said, pride flags stand for welcoming and inclusion, but why aren't we teaching the kids that about the American flag? And then another mom said, I want my kids to accept others. I want them to be kind to all, diversity and orientations. I don't condone bullying, but I feel it's being shoved down their throats. So we can argue that it's not an agenda or a political narrative, but it is. And I'm not saying that they don't represent inclusion, but what I'm saying is that we need to support everybody. And so one thing I do want to correct myself on, I generalized when I said club because I just meant everybody that meets under our roof, and I shouldn't have done that because a friend of mine who's gay said, it's not a hobby, and he said, don't call it a club, so he asked me to correct myself and use the term community, which I apologize for. I should have said community. But I feel like every community is under the roof of public school, and there should be something for everyone. And when we argue that it's equity to give to one community, but then the other community isn't heard because, because if they disagree or they step away from it, then, they get called names and they try to cancel people. I mean, this is America and this is public school, and there is a spot for everyone, and everyone should be treated equally, and everyone should be included, and every opinion should be valued and respected, and everybody should be seen, everyone should be heard, and everyone should be wanted, and every classroom under our roof should be a safe room. Thank you.
Mrs. Polsky, did you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Steer. It has come to my attention that we have constituents who are deeply concerned about our commitment to supporting a safe and accepting community. This concern stems from the resistance among some of our community members to the display of pride flags within our school district. I would like to emphasize to all of our constituents, students, teachers, and staff, that I am steadfast in my commitment to providing an inclusive, secure, and understanding environment for all, which includes the LGBTQ+ community. To me, pride flags are nothing more than a symbol of acceptance, kindness, and compassion, and I see no reason why they would pose a threat in any sense. I have no plans to support any effort to remove them from our schools. Part of my job as Facilities Committee Chair is not only to provide a physically safe building, but also to provide a school setting that is mentally and emotionally sound, and I take that responsibility very seriously. Thank you for your time.
And again, I'll reiterate that nobody, not me or anyone, said that they don't belong here or that there's no place for them or that we don't agree with what they stand for. That's not what anybody said. What I said is everybody should just be given, we have entire hallways for one community and we have others that are not recognized, seen, or heard, and everyone's opinion has to be recognized. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say they don't belong. I said we need to reconsider and everybody should be given an equal space. That's what I said. I didn't say they don't belong. And by the way, when I ran last year and I knocked on 3,000 doors, a lot of parents were concerned about this narrative. A lot of them were. And it was Democrats, it was Republicans, and it was independents. And it's not the flag, it's not the LGBTQ. And when I said enough is enough, I didn't mean of them, of those communities. I meant of this entire debate. Because America and public school is big enough for everybody. and everyone should be given equal representation. That's what I said, and that's what my constituency wants.
Are there any other board members that have something for the good of the group?
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yep, I was gonna say, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy solstice.
I just want to say I spent several days this week. Number one, on Tuesday, I was a judge at the business education along with Josh and TR. We met some very wonderful, young, and aspiring students. And then the rest of the week, I've been making the rounds at the holiday sings to see these elementary school kids so proud of themselves and excited about the upcoming holiday and vacation period, singing their little hearts out. It makes it so much easier to sit here and listen to a lot of negativity when I know that I am helping to give opportunity to every student in our community for their success. So thank you for allowing me to do that, and I wish everyone a safe and happy holiday. Thanks.
Happy holidays, everyone. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.